Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm going to do a monologue, something I've never done before. Anyone who listens to the show knows that I'm not a fan of doing monologues. It's out of my comfort zone. But this was something I wanted to do. As you know, we're traveling throughout Canada and Alaska over the summer, so I actually took a pause from having guests on the show. I created a huge backlog before we left for Canada and Alaska, knowing that I wouldn't have great internet connectivity on that trip. So I created a big backlog of guests, recorded all kinds of stuff leading up to our departure, and basically had a backlog leading up to the end of July. So now that we're in August, we still have the episodes of just Sandy and me. Also going to record some episodes with some of our friends that are on the trip with us and have my grandson on, but also wanted to mix in some monologues too till I get back to recording with guests. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually reading a chapter out of my book, The Journey of My Mother's Son, Volume 1, Many Random Thoughts from the Road. Again, not something I've ever done before. But I thought it was a kind of a cool way to share some content from my book for anybody who's out there who hasn't purchased it and is thinking about it. Just to give you a little taste of what you would be in for. And also helps me to get out of this, comfort zone to create a little bit of a different type of monologue. So, anybody who's ever written something, reading your own work is a little awkward as well. So we're really, crashing out of a lot of different comfort zones for me in this episode. So I hope you enjoy it. This is a piece that I wrote back in April of 2021. Again, my book was published in kind of a journal form. So the Many Random Thoughts from the Road is exactly what that is. Each chapter, I show the date that I wrote it, and they're kind of laid out in chronological order. So this is actually chapter 19, and it's one of the most powerful things I think I've written, which is why I wanted to share this chapter in particular on this first monologue slash reading a chapter out of my book. This also gives me some practice for when I sit down and actually record the audiobook, which is something that is coming up in not the too near future, but somewhere down the road we will be sitting down in the studio and doing a audiobook of this and The Beauty of a Diamond Through the Eyes of a Coach. So again, this is chapter 19 of The Journey of My Mother's Son, Volume 1, Many Random Thoughts from the Road. Title of the chapter is Learning to Come to Grips with My Terminal Illness. And again, it was written on April 12th, 2021. It's only common that we go in denial when we first get the diagnosis. With that thought in mind, I'm not sure who wrote this, but it's worth sharing. Every minute someone leaves this world behind. We are all in the line without knowing it. We never know how many people are before us. We cannot move to the back of the line. We cannot step out of the line. We cannot avoid the line. So while we wait in line, make moments count. Make priorities. Make the time. Make your gifts known. Make a nobody feel like a somebody. Make your voice heard. Make the small things big. Make someone smile. Make the change. Make love. Make up. Make peace. Make sure to tell your people they are loved. Make sure to have no regrets. Make sure you're ready. Serve and praise the Lord. I'm not terminally ill in the sense that I was diagnosed with cancer, ALS, or some other awful disease. However, I, like all of us, have been diagnosed with the terminal illness we call life. Unfortunately, way too many of us fail to take that diagnosis seriously, and somehow we seem to think that all of our tomorrows are guaranteed. They most certainly are not. The sooner in our lives that we can come to grips with that concept, the sooner we can truly appreciate our lives and all of the wonderful gifts that come along with it. It's only human for us to take those things and people that we hold near and dear to us for granted. Would we approach our moments with those we love differently if we really considered that the moment we have with them right here, right now, is the only moment together we are guaranteed? Would we choose our words more wisely? Would we hug them a little tighter and a little longer when we say so long, see you down the road, or goodbye? Would we let them know what they mean to us more often, or would we continue to let those precious words go unspoken? Would the reason that a friendship ended so abruptly still be as important as we thought it was? Or would we realize how truly petty it was when it's too late? Would we pick up the phone and start the conversation today, or continue to put it off until tomorrow? My brother-in-law Frank and I once had a conversation after he had been diagnosed with cancer, and he knew that his life would be ending soon. He told me that he sometimes felt as though getting cancer was a blessing because it gave him a new appreciation for what was most important in life. He said, "We all know that we're going to die. I just have a better perspective now." I don't know why he told me that, but it has stuck with me ever since. It was really probably the only time in our relationship that we had a one-on-one conversation, and it was powerful. A large part of this journey for me has not just been about keeping my mother's legacy alive, but also about a much deeper, more personal spiritual journey. In my last chapter, I wrote about being grateful and the power of positive thinking. It is so important to our health to keep a positive outlook and to truly enjoy the little things in life. It took me a long time to start to enjoy the little things in life. I dedicated an entire chapter about the importance of the little things in the reprint of my book, The Beauty of a Diamond Through the Eyes of a Coach. It also took me a long time to understand the importance of self-care. As an empath and a highly sensitive person, HSP, self-care is not something that comes easily for me. A blessing, or perhaps a curse, from both my mother and father. I've always put other people's needs in front of my own. Many times I would actually feel guilty about making a decision that would benefit me. But there are times when you need to be selfish, when you need to take care of you first. I'll continue to put the needs of others in front of my own most of the time. I truly believe that is the correct way to live your life. I always will. However, I will now be much more strategic about it. I'll no longer put the needs of people who genuinely do not care about my needs in front of my own. I'll no longer engage in toxic situations in which the other party is the only one winning and I am the only one making sacrifices. In her later years, my mom would often say to me, "Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do for you." Generally, I would agree, and then continue to go about doing things the way I always did. I put others first regardless of what the cost was to my own personal mental health and well-being. It finally took my walking away from a highly toxic situation that was literally straining every aspect of my life before I truly understood what my mother meant. I finally made a selfish decision to start living, to walk away and start this new journey with my wife. A real journey with many miles under the wheels, but much more importantly, a spiritual journey and a new perspective. A perspective that appreciates the little things more. A perspective that loves even deeper. A perspective that understands tomorrow is not guaranteed, and all that we truly have is this moment. Since Sandy and I have started this journey, so many of our friends and people that we know have passed away. All of them had plans for tomorrow. All of them had items on their calendars that they would now miss. All of them attended their last birthday party, said their last "I love you" or their last goodbye without even knowing it. The news of each of their passing came with great sadness, but also with a resounding affirmation that we were doing the right thing. Life is too short to always be planning for tomorrow. Society has created this model of what our life should look like. Go to school, get a job, go into debt, work to pay off the debt for the majority of your life. That has been the American dream for a long time. Most of us wake up, go to work, rush around, take a few minutes in the evening to catch our breath before bedtime, and repeat the whole cycle again the next day, and the next day, for about 50 years. After that, if you're lucky and still healthy enough, you may have a few years before you die to enjoy your retirement with what's left of your life. So many people we've crossed paths with over the past several months have told us that they hope to be able to do what we're doing someday, that it's their dream. I always respond with, someday could be today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do it now. Don't make excuses about why you can't do it. Excuses are easy. At the end of your life, the only true regrets you're going to have will be about the chances that you didn't take. The reason you can't do it has nothing to do with finances or time or an employment commitment. It has everything to do with fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of fill in the blank. At some point, you just have to do what you have to do for you. Take that leap of faith and truly start living your life to its fullest. When my mom decided she was going to leave her job in the mid-1980s to travel across the country in her old beat-up 1967 Plymouth Valiant, she wasn't wealthy, she just had courage. Sandy and I are far from wealthy, and with the pandemic lingering, there is still much uncertainty when we start to look too far out into our financial future. But we know that God will continue to provide for us. The future is important, but this moment, the one that we have right now, is even more important because it's the only thing we have that is guaranteed. Only when we fully understand the concept that we're all truly terminally ill, and that every day in which we live is also one day closer to our death, can we start to really appreciate what's important in life. David Crosby once said, "Don't waste the time. Time is the final currency, man. Not money, not power, it's time." My brother shared that quote with me right after we first started this journey. I've referenced it a lot since then. It really sums up everything I've just written about. Doesn't matter how much power you wield or how much money you have in the bank, time is the most valuable asset of all three. The biggest difference between power, money, and time is that you know how much you have of the first two. Time is that currency none of us know how much we have until we get to zero. We must spend our time wisely. Godspeed. Carpe diem. So that's chapter 19 of my book, The Journey of My Mother's Son, Volume 1. Again, it's a pretty powerful chapter. I think a lot of people take time for granted. They take their lives for granted. They think that tomorrow is guaranteed, but that is far, far from the case. And I hope by you guys listening to this gives you a little bit more perspective. I hope that you really understand that the only thing that's guaranteed in life is this moment that we're in right now. So hug your loved ones a little tighter. Pick up the phone, call somebody you haven't talked to, tell them you love them. Most of all, if something's holding you back from doing something that you really want to do, just go out and do it. So, thanks for listening, and as always, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. While you're there, check out the new Pay It Forward program where you can purchase a book, and Sandy and I will donate it throughout our travels. Very cool program, great way to just help spread positive energy throughout the world. So, as always, love connecting with the listeners, and I hope you enjoyed this different format of one of my podcasts.